Hey everyone, it's Lena here. I am filming this on September 1st and I am bringing you my top 3 September coloring book picks. I'm wondering, in my thumbnail that I made, I did give you 3 hints as to what those 3 books might be. So I'm wondering if you figured out what those books are by the little hints that I gave you, the little snippets of the covers. So if you did, let me know in the comments, and I will tell you which one I think was probably the easiest to guess. But anyways, we're going to start with Creepy Kawaii Halloween. That is the first book in my pick. And I did test out, I'm going to say about 17 supplies. So it was a lot. And I'm going to go through with them with you. I only did them in 2 books because 2 of the 3 books had the same paper. So I didn't need to test the same paper twice. So this one, it has paper that's different from the other 2. The other 2 have the same paper. So this is Creepy Kawaii Halloween, and it says 50 monstrously cute coloring pages, and it is illustrated by Ela Jarzabek. I'm not sure if I pronounced it correctly, but here we go. Let's see here, and it says copyright 2025. Okay, so it starts off with a coloring page here next to the introduction. And I'll let you read the introduction to get it. I won't waste your time reading this, but it just says, you know, welcome to this book and have fun. So this is where I tested supplies in this book here. I'm going to try to zoom in here for you. Let's see if I can get this. Okay, I might need to zoom out just a little bit. Okay, that's better. So let's see here. Okay, so anyways, yeah, so I tested a whole bunch of supplies here, and I'm just going to go through the different supplies that I tried on this paper here. It is, let's see here, this one here is a Neocolor II on the broom. The whole broom is Neocolor II. Went on nicely, no problems. I have Albrecht Durer right here for the cape. I used Faber-Castell, what's it called? Faber-Castell Dark. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of the name. Oh, Black Edition. I'm sorry. So it was the Faber-Castell Black Edition, and this was the neon. So it did not go on that great. The pencil didn't, and I don't think it's the paper. I think it's universally not that great of a pencil. But feel free to correct me wrong if you have found a book that it works great in, but it didn't color that great in either of the books. The next one here we have, well, I'm kind of going to bounce around here. So we have Crayola. And I did make a note here that the Crayola crayon. Let's see here. I'm trying to, let's see. Here we go. So I did make a note here that the Crayola coloring crayon went on a lot smoother than in this book than the other one. Like it was a lot easier, a lot nicer to use that crayon. Next up, I have a gel pen here, and this is by AEN. And show you. Oh, and I guess I'll just say it now since I'm already on this page here. Since I'm on the back here, in this book, nothing bled through except alcohol markers. That's all this here. These here, the blue and the black, those are alcohol markers. Nothing else bled through. I don't even see any shadowing anywhere in all these tests here on this paper. This paper is definitely much better, in my opinion, than the Amazon paper in the other 2 books you'll see. So I really enjoy this paper. The next up we have Pen and Gear. I have a Pen and Gear pastel colored pencil set. That was fine. We have Castle Art here. They colored better on this paper than on the other one. The other 2 books have, as I mentioned, the Amazon paper, and it's toothier than this one. So this paper is smoother. So the supplies are going to go on smoother in this paper than the other one. And I used Tombow marker here. And we've got some gouache on the pumpkin. And what else we got here? Faber-Castell Black Edition pastel pencils. I used pastels and neons in 2 different parts. And what was interesting is that the pastels colored easier than neons. I have Supertips. I'm sorry. Let's see here. What do we got going on here? I'm sorry. The Faber-Castell pastel is on the collar, and then Supertips is on the shirt. So that's this right here. And then we have Polychromos right here, colored very nicely on this paper. The Prismacolors, it's rougher on the paper than the Polychromos. Polychromos looks a lot smoother than the Prismacolor. And that was actually the same with both books. And we have chalk. So I did some, let's see here, what's it called? Carbothello chalk pencils right here, chalk pencil there. I did watercolor paint right here until it kind of it went thicker right here on one side than the other. And then I used gelato up here, and it did spread easier on this paper than the Amazon paper. Again, it's not surprising because it is smoother, and gelatos do work better on smoother paper. And then one last thing I did that is kind of a bonus, I guess you could say, because I was not going to try out alcohol markers. But anyways, I put alcohol marker here for the fun purpose of trying Mod Podge. Whoops. There we go, right here. So I used Mod Podge Extreme Glitter on this, and I thought it'd be fun to show up on black. So I have a hard time showing it here. So I thought it'd be fun to show up, yeah, on this black hat here. And this, you could tell, like, it is pretty and glittery, sparkly. So it is extreme glitter. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the pages. And I'm going to flip through somewhat quickly, and I'm not going to do a whole lot of talking about it. I just want you to have an opportunity to see the pages for this first book that I picked. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out here so you can see. All right, we need to go a little bit more. Okay, good. There are a few pages in here that are creepier than others. Most of them are just, creepy cute like it says, and others are, most of them are mostly cute and a little bit creepy, and then there's some that are mostly creepy and a little bit cute. I really like this one. I like dolls. Like, I like pictures of dolls, I mean. I do not have a fear of clowns. I saw someone do a flip through of this book and she said she was going to avoid all the clown ones, but even though I did not like, you know, I was scared of it and even more so Poltergeist, I do not have a fear of coloring clowns, so I think that's cute. You could make them even more creepy if you wanted to. This snake does not look cute to me. He looks like he's just straight up sinister. He's got some evil plans to me. Another doll I think is adorable. This is just a straight up cute page. Like, there's, to me, I mean, yeah, they are like zombie unicorns, but to me, it's just straight up cute. This is the first one I would, I think is more creepy than cute, even though it's cute because, you know, it's got like severed body parts, stuffed animal body parts and doll body parts. Yeah. This one is even creepier because it looks like the magician's rabbit killed the magician and there's like pools of blood everywhere. Oh, I like gestures too. This one I think is kind of funny because the skeleton is walking its skeleton dog. Okay, and here is another. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think 8 in the back and 8 in the front. Pictures for you to color the smaller images of. Like you can try out the images, or test out the images with colors and stuff before you actually color the full-sized ones. So all of these are full-sized images in the book, but they've got little mini ones here for you to color and test out. All right, and that is it. All right, that is the first one. The second one is 50 space-themed miniatures. Just zooming out here. I think that this one was probably the easiest one to guess in my thumbnail because, I mean, the whole thing looks alien here, but I used the snippet of this right here from the cover. So I just feel like it was just really easy to figure out. But you can tell me if this was the one that was easiest to figure out of the three. But I feel like this is probably the one that most people got right if they got one right. Or more, of course. You can get all three right, too. All right. Oh, I forgot to mention. Okay, so 50 space-themed miniatures coloring book, and this is by Camelia Anjakova. This is the other book that I tested supplies out in as well. So the third book that I'm going to show you has Amazon paper just like this one, as I mentioned before. So we have Prismacolor pencils, and it went on fine. I mean, it's, yeah, toothier in this paper. So it's fine. Castle Arts, if that Castle Arts kind of went on a bit more pigmented and thicker than the Prismacolors. I don't know, I just felt like it was pretty smooth to use. I don't know. Tombows went on fine. Let me show you the back of this. We had more bleed through on this here. So the Tombows bled through on this paper, but not the other one. We also have bleed through on Supertips. So there's a little bit of bleed through on the Supertips. Crayons did not bleed through. That's Crayola Crayon here. And then we have the chalk that would not bleed through. We have Albrecht Durer, which did bleed through. And as a disclaimer, I forgot to mention this, but it does say in the front of the book here, do not use water. Please stick to decent or high quality art mediums, not too wet. Oh, it doesn't say you can't use wet. This is not too wet, and not very dark markers. Soft enough and not too bright crayons or pencils would be perfect. This paper is not recommended for watercolors or very wet art supplies. So I still wanted to try some watercolor stuff anyways, because I'm a rebel and I still wanted to know how it would go on here. But yeah, the Albrecht Durer did bleed through the paper. So gouache here did not bleed through the paper at all. So this is Himi gouache, and it did not bleed through. We have Neocolor II right here, and it did not bleed through either. Nope. And then we have AEN gel pen in this purple circles here. I'm sorry. You know what? I should have. Okay. So here, I'm going to start over. So here are the Prismacolors right here. And it's because the paper's toothy, it went on, a little bit rougher than the other paper. We have Castle Arts here, which went on a bit smoother. And before I get too far, I do want to tell you that this book does say to, let's see here, please, first of all, it says stick a blotter paper, something that will absorb the alcohol markers or anything that will bleed through. Stick a piece of paper behind it so it doesn't bleed through to the next page. And then it also says, and I realize I'm not showing this correctly right now, but it also says, please stick to decent or high quality art mediums, not too wet and not very dark markers, soft enough and not too bright crayons or pencils would be perfect. Seems like it feels kind of like there's a lot of rules. The paper is not recommended for watercolors or very wet art supplies. That being said, I still wanted to try them out because I'm a rebel and I was curious. So Tombows did bleed through the paper right here. We have Supertips, and the Supertips did bleed through a little bit on the back here. We have Crayola Crayon right here. We have Albrecht Durer. Let's see here. Albrecht Durer's did bleed through right there. Gouache did not bleed through. It's right there. So no bleed through on the gouache. And that's Himi gouache. We have, I don't know if I mentioned the chalk. So I used Carbothello chalk pencils, Crayola crayons, okay, those are all the brands I didn't mention here. Now we're up to Neocolor II. So that uses water and it did not bleed through. And next is the AEN gel pen. That did not bleed through. I think it could if you went over it too many times. I did not go over it more than once. And then we have watercolor, straight up watercolor. I don't have a brand to tell you because I have a mixed brand of watercolors, but just, generic watercolor from a pan. And then I used it right here, right there, and the watercolor did not bleed through. Okay, so right here we have Pen & Gear pastel pencils. And right here we have Faber-Castell. I wrote BR for bright, but it's actually neon. So it's Faber-Castell Black Edition neon. And I made a note here that both of those are scratchy going onto the paper. And the Faber-Castell Black Edition pastel pencil was smoother. And then I have the gelato here, which do not go on as smooth as the other paper because it's toothier. And what I did is I picked from these colors here because I wanted a purple. And so I went with metallic grape because I felt like it was the smoothest of the ones that I wanted, of the choices that I wanted to pick from. And then this last one here, I just think it's so pretty. So this is the alcohol and the glitter. I just think it's so sparkly and pretty. You can see how pretty that is. There we go. Wow. Okay. So there you go. And just so you know, if you do get the Mod Podge Extreme Glitter, there's two things to keep in mind. One is use a paintbrush that you're not in love with because there's always a possibility the glue could not fully wash out of it and then you could ruin your paintbrush. And two, the other thing to keep in mind is that it is white in the bottle. So that, I didn't even think about that when I first got it. So I thought, did I get the wrong bottle of glitter? Because I don't see any glitter in here. Maybe I think I just need to throw this piece away. So when I got it, I thought there is no glitter in here. Maybe I got the wrong bottle because it just looks white to me. Like I don't really see. I saw like little hints of glitter around the lid. But that was it. And so it dawned on me after a while that it's because it's white when it goes on and then it dries clear. So when it goes on, yeah, it looks white. And then when it's clear, what you have left is the glitter. So it's in there. You just can't see it because it's hidden by the white glue. So there's plenty of it. So don't be alarmed if you get it and wonder if you just got a bad batch like I wondered. Okay, moving on. Here are the pages. And I'm going to zoom out for this. Okay. I'm in love with these images and I just cannot wait to start coloring these adorable aliens. I thought these were bees. They just look like bees to me. And then I realized that they have eggs. And it looks like there's eggs with nests in here. So, I mean, I get it. They're aliens. It could be bee-like characters with eggs. But I guess I would have to call them more like birds, since that's what it looks like, is nests with eggs. This is cute. It looks like it's a moon gondola. You're just using it to row through the clouds. Totally random, but I noticed there are several images with this kind of shaped star. There's not more than one on a page that I could see, but some pages have stars and then one that's shaped like this. Oh wait, I take it back. There's two of them on this page. It had to prove me wrong. Oh wait, no, one, two, three. There's three on this page. Okay, sorry. There are some pages that have this star, but there's only like one on the page. Although you might not believe me now after I was wrong about this one twice. So there's one right there. So there's one right there. Now that I see them, I just can't unsee them. I just can't. And we're done with that book. All right, so again, that was 50 space-themed miniatures. That is my second my second book pick for September, and I have one more to go. My third one is Any Day. So I covered 3 subjects for fall. I have Halloween, space, and fall. So I wanted to incorporate a little bit of each for this month. Even though Halloween is not until October, I just am dying to color some of those Halloween pages. So I wanted to show you the book before I dive into it. Okay, so this one is Any Day by Morgan O'Brien. This is my first Morgan O'Brien book. And I went with Any Day instead of Matchstick Mouse because I just love her outfits. They're just adorable. I love her dresses, her fall coats and everything. And I chose this one specifically because I looked through a whole bunch of flip throughs of Any Day books, and I decided that the Autumn Vibes one would be my favorite of the Any Day books. So that's why I picked this one. And I mentioned this before, but I did not do any experiments in this book because it is the same paper as the 50 space themed miniatures. So I'm just going to do a flip through. Got the one? Yep, that's the cover there. I love this cup. I think I had a hold on, you know, I'm gonna zoom in for you here. Here we go. I had a orange pumpkin mug that was so cute until it broke. I just love that. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit because the image is a little bit bigger than the other ones. Okay. I love this. I know she's drinking tea or coffee, but looks like she could be having tea time with the snacks here. And then the kitty curled up next to her. I have 3 kitties and they love to curl up next to me on the couch, as I'm sure most cats do. And I love photography, so that's a fun picture too. And that was the last page. So that is Any Day. I'd love to know which one I showed you is your favorite, and I would also love to know what your top 3 picks are for September. It doesn't have to be different themes, of course, and doesn't have to be any of the themes that I picked. I just love to know what you want to color for September if you know. I do not personally make plans for coloring in the sense that I don't plan specific pages. I just can't. It causes stress for me to commit to that kind of thing, but I am pretty sure that I will at least color in the books. I just don't know what pictures yet, but I'm excited to do that. I thank you so much for watching. If you could leave a comment, just letting me know that you saw this, what you think, that would be so appreciative. And also, if you could subscribe if you want to see more videos, and I click like. All those things are appreciative. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day and a very, very happy September.